Hi, this is Bill. Now let's answer the question, why podcast? Well, maybe if I tell you why I podcast and what means most to me about podcasting, some of those things might relate to you. First of all, I podcast because it is an art and it is a way to express yourself, but there's other things too that come along with it, like meeting people. And I think the easiest way to explain that is to look at the four podcasts I've worked with and tell you about them. Timelines is my very first podcast, and it is still in effect. It's 260. I hope you go and look at it. Timelines of Success. Meet the Voter. Meet the Voter is one of my new ones. It evolved from a show called Politics of Success, which I still have, but it's Meet the Voter. It's on a $5 a month RSS feed. WP Tonic, which has been number 2 in WordPress on iTunes for a while. It's relatively a big show. It's one of our productive shows. I did the first 97 units. I helped Jonathan Denwood, and now I've been teaching him how to podcast. And he's actually going to be using this course. I'm handing a lot off to him. And a real estate agent podcast. We're in the real estate business, and Jonathan Denwood, who I work with, develops SaaS and products for real estate agents. So we did one jointly. And my wife, my wife's background and my background in brokers, it's kind of a fun show. It is actually hit new and noteworthy. With Anthony Robbins was actually there at the same time, new and noteworthy. So that was kind of neat. So we've had one of the largest shows in an area, WP Tonic. We've had the real estate agent show, new and noteworthy. Meet the Press is a fun show. It's had some big numbers. Meet the Voter. It's big numbers. It's on Sunday, and I actually use Blab with that, but I've gone to Google Plus also. And then Timelines. So with that, I want to bring up a couple other things too. The number of people I've met, I've interviewed 200 and some odd people on Timelines, so I got to know a lot more people. Going to conferences, you meet people. And then even online, the social side, you meet sort of a whole different crowd of folks you get to know. The Podcaster's Home is a free site that I hope you all go to and sign up. And it's a way on Facebook to get to know each other. Post your shows. And I'm also working on another site for those in the community, in the Netcast Homes community, in the Premier element. And that's going to be a closed Facebook site where you can drop and ask questions and we can help each other. And I'll certainly get in there as much as possible and answer your questions. So with that, I want to show you the inside of a couple of my shows and again, why I like it so much. Okay, my very first show. Actually, my first show was the political show, which is still up. I tested that and played around with it and had a lot of fun. But Timelines of Success, or Timelines Podcast, is my very, very first show. I'm still producing that. It's by far the one I have the most fun. Actually, I've made the most money with this because my wife, Karen, has got tremendous referrals from the people we interviewed in and around Reno. So what we're doing in going to this show is I'm doing one show within somebody in Reno, which is a little bit more work, and then an outside person each week. So I try to get 2 shows up a week, and it's a lot of fun. And let me tell you my very, very first show, Earl Conrad, my uncle, who's still alive. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about this. This was one of my early shows. It was done on my MacBook Pro laptop with an ATR 2100, which I have several of those mics. Just plugged in. That's the way I recommend. The sound was good. I actually called him through Skype, which we'll talk about later on as we advance in podcasting. But I actually talked to him just on a phone line. He was on a speakerphone, and this is the sound we got. It's been pretty good for your 95 years, though, other than the war.
Yeah, we're awful lucky, Bill.
Welcome to Timelines of Success, Episode 1. Today, we interview Earl Conrad. At 95 years old, he's part of the greatest generation. He grew up in the Depression in Huntington Beach. During World War II, he saw combat in the Pacific as a P-38 pilot. Soon after the war ended, he left the military to start a business with his parents and his brother, Conrad Ceramics. Today, that company is still in business. And June still dances and plays a heck of a round of golf. So let's get right into the questions with Earl Conrad.
So tell us about your younger years, your war years, and your transition into your family business. First of all, what was it like growing up in Huntington Beach?
It was the best place in the world. We had free reign all over the country, and we went from the flats to we could, not too many people, we could ride our bikes over to Santa Ana and back without meeting any traffic, anything like that. And we could go climb an old ark and throw a glider off the top of it.
And how many people were in Huntington Beach? And it was the 20s, right? 20s and 30s?
So, that's precious. That's called an oral history. I still want to do more of those, and they take some work, but man, they mean so much to me. So that's just one reason that I podcast. Let me show you the latest episode, 260, Burn the Ships. That's what's making me produce this show. Listen to 260 and you'll see what I'm doing right now. But I truly, truly do enjoy podcasting. I've met a lot of folks here as a candidate for United States Senate. Be Authentic, Chris Angels did a great job. Cody. Just you meet amazing, amazing people when you podcast. So that said, that's one reason I podcast right there. Let's look at the next show. And now here's another show, Meet the Voter. It's kind of my fun show. We've actually had one time we had 3,000 people watch the episode. And we experimented with something called blab.im, which I would recommend you all go out, blab.im, set up a Twitter account, and go ahead and start playing with this right away. It'll actually help you podcast because it'll teach you to podcast, talk, and communicate. You can use the equipment that we're recommending, and you'll sound like a pro on Blab. I'm not going to really teach that today. It's more in advanced courses, and we're not sure how long Blab's going to be around. But let me show you this show. Here's Blab. This was made on Blab, probably. Welcome to Meet the Voter, episode 31. And Bernie just kicked tail, and I guess Trump won. What's up, Bob? Bob Phelan, our consultant.
Scott, Trump.
We make
Going
these
to
on
get Trump.
different elements, but we do. This is the morning show.
Welcome to Meet the Voter. This is episode 31.
Like
here's
that.
some of the fun that we have.
What's the point of that argument? Doesn't really hold up. The only logical to pursue aggressive war, and that's what he is.
Folks, that's Jonathan Denwood.
When I ran, she was one of the few Republicans in D.C. It really helped out.
Yeah, she was. She's
anyway. More and more fun right here. Meet the Voter. I have a lot of fun, and these are really simple websites to build right here. And we'll go into that a little bit later on in another training episode. We'll go into the more advanced WordPress sites. And these are easy WordPress sites that we put these on that I've developed a child theme. I will create the next course. I'll probably create it on WordPress and how to use this child theme. Here is WP Tonic. I do this with Jonathan. It's really his WordPress site here. He has a SaaS business, is in the business, but we've made a lot of these shows. I've met the very, very top people in the world on WordPress, and we've had some of the very top people on this show. It's an excellent show, a lot of fun. I've learned a lot from Jonathan. There's so much to learn WordPress. Made a lot of friends in that WordPress community too, and going to the WordCamps. And they're a lot of fun, too, if you get a chance to go. This is the Real Estate Agent Podcast. It's a site that Jonathan builds. He builds the last two. And we talk about real estate, and it's good, and it just helps me stay current with some of those events. And I'll tell you what, for those who are taking this course, I'll probably do a little small element class just on how to apply podcasts for real estate agents. And I'll tell you what, the secret right now is go and interview people in your community, and they'll get to know, like, and trust you, and they actually give reviews, or interview people who provide services like cleaners, things of that nature, which we've done. And finally, I'm on iTunes right here, which you'll get to know. You're going to have to learn iTunes. It's not too hard. And you basically, if you go ahead and search on iTunes, anything, like I search Bill Conrad, and this is what pops up. These are our 4 shows. And these are many of the shows that I've actually been on. You get to invite it on other shows, and you end up showing up in searches there. I want to show you something. President Obama. If you search President Obama, I come up number 2 from some of the discussion that we've had on politics and Meet the Voter. So we'll go ahead and open that up. You can see. Anyway, a lot of fun, and that's why I podcast, and that's why I think you should podcast too. Hey, there's one other side that we'll talk about at the end. It's about turning your podcast from a hobby into a business. I'll tell you what, there's no problem at keeping it a hobby, but it also can be very powerful in your business.